would you rather have Roger Clemens' career or Mariano Rivera's career? Everything that is involved with those careers.
Without a doubt, Mariano Rivera.
Yeah, that's what I said.
I believe everything that he did. I don't believe everything that is on the back of Roger Clemens' baseball card.
But we see him and Bonds. They seem to be intertwined here of moving up the voting for the Hall of Fame. Do you think that they ever get in?
I think Barry does for sure. And Dan, I think I faced him 70 times or something, and the most at bats off of anybody that he didn't hit a home run off of. But I faced the guy that was stealing 50 bases a year, not the guy that was hitting 50 home runs. I thought he would have. I thought he was a surefire Hall of Famer before, he started hitting 50, 60, and 70 home runs. I thought he was that guy. Just my personal opinion, I didn't feel like Roger was until Roger got up there to Toronto.
Yeah, my problem is this, though, Rick. Are you a Hall of Famer if at any point in your career you use performance-enhancing drugs?
I say no, Dan. And I'll tell you why. I question myself a lot. I knew back when I tore my hamstring in '85, I knew there were some things I could do. And the only thing that kept me from doing it was the fact that the doctors told me it was illegal by law. And they didn't know enough about it. Looking back on it, as you know, 8 years ago, excuse me, I was diagnosed with colon cancer. And the first question that my surgeon asked me was, have you ever taken steroids? And I went, no. And I said, well, good. And I said, well, why? Well, because, it could have accelerated the growth of the cancer that was in me. So as I look back on that, I'm thrilled that I didn't. But I also, in a lot of ways, think that I might have cheated the Cubs organization by not doing it. A lot of people were. A lot of people knew. And now as we look back on it, we know the advantages that came from it. USADA, the United States Anti-Doping Agency, when they spoke to all of us at ESPN, they talked about your muscle growth, your recovery time, and then they talked about your vision. They said, well, how can that help a hitter? Well, with most people, your vision when you're on a lot of that stuff, they were saying, your vision's doubled. So everything that you need to be a better hitter.
Wait, doubled in a good way?
Doubled in a good way, yeah.
If I gave you a mulligan back in 1985, would you take steroids?
Well, not knowing that I was going to come down with cancer,
Let's say you didn't. Let's say you weren't going to be diagnosed, but now you could have a do-over.
You know what? No, Dan, I wouldn't, and I'll tell you why. Because my daughter years ago, as I said this at a banquet at the Cubs convention, my daughter said, "The one thing I know, Dad, you sleep good at night, don't you?" And I do.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings on Audience.